So here it is, the Blue Lock team actually gets betrayed by Ryusai, and he goes over to the Japan U20 team to battle with Sai against the Blue Lock characters. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that he was more villain-like because, we saw his skills, and it makes sense that they take a character. We've seen that, there's a fighting between him and Ren, and then it's like, hey, he's the number 2. He would be the number 1 if it wasn't for Ren. And then he automatically goes over to the enemy side. So now it's like, oh, he's so skilled. He's comparable to Ren. What are we going to do when he's our enemy? Well, that's what we got to find out in next week's episode, where the kickoff, Blue Lock versus the Japan's U20, which is going to be happening. Can't believe it's next week, but it's going to be happening soon. It's a shame that, of course, which we'll talk about it real briefly, but the whole animation stuff that's going on, it's fine. It's gonna be what it is. I've talked about it extensively. We've had several shorts, TikToks talking about the whole graphics of Blue Lock. So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but we're just gonna kind of go over and enjoy what we have. I still think the anime is very good. I still think that the story here in Blue Lock is actually really good. And I will have to say the computer graphics is pretty good whenever they do like intense close-up shots of certain aspects and certain events happening. It's just the whole animation between things kind of suffer. But like I said, that's all I'm going to say about that for now. Let's get to the actual story of Blue Lock. And right now, we have a character that seemed like he was a little eccentric. He could, maybe Isagi could do something with him. And now he's gone to the enemy side. So I was like, well, so much for that guy. And here we are with the team that we currently have. Here it is. You have the Blue Lock 11. These are the guys that are going to be on the field, on the game, representing Blue Lock. Now, it took me a moment to realize, it's like, oh yeah, this isn't an elimination. This is literally a tryout that they had to get on the team to save Blue Lock. If you weren't on the team, it wasn't like, oh, well, you guys are kicked out of Blue Lock. No, pretty much everybody else is in reserve. They have to get through this game, and then if Blue Lock survives, then they're gonna go back to the whole elimination and finding out who's the best striker and such. It's just that these guys have a huge advantage because they are representing Blue Lock against the Japanese team, and the goal is to beat the Japanese team. And if anything comes out of the game, as we were talking about, or as the episode was talking about flow, anything manifests in the game, that just gives them a 1-up for the rest of Blue Lock if it continues. So, of course, everyone wants to get on this team to represent it. And lo and behold, the visuals they showed of the people that didn't get on there, ooh, I feel for them. Because here we got all these characters that we see, they get their disdain for not being on the team. And the biggest one of them all, Baru. Baru's sitting there, man, fired up. He is so mad that he didn't get selected on the team. Now, granted, it wouldn't surprise me if in the battle something happens and, they had to fill people in. Like, for example, Chigiri, let's say he's running and, I don't know, he gets hurt or something happens where he's out for a few minutes. It wouldn't surprise me if they put Baru in and he just tears up the field like he did last season. Just show his style of gameplay. I'm sure Ego has made a backup team, kind of like how he was going to do for the number 2 as a backup if something happened to the number 1, Ren. If anything happens to the people that are players on the team, I'm sure he has like the next runner-up of people that fill in just in case their position gets hampered or something happens. But regardless, I mean, that was kind of the most of it as far as the episode's concerned, but the biggest thing is flow. Now, their explanation of flow was like, wow, that makes total sense. The fact that the way that your mind works and the works of how you want to achieve something, it's just so good how he explained it. Like the way that he was talking about flow and how, if you can have it way too easy and get bored, but then if something's way too hard, you get too anxious, but you want to have that middle ground. And kind of how the reason why they're in Blue Lock, he took away their phones, so then that way you don't get into this trance-like state. You want the trance-like state of flow to happen while you're achieving something, not while your mind is being numbed to countless hours of watching something on your phone. Because like he's saying, It does introduce a trance-like state, but that's not the type of trance you're trying to get into. You want to fight for something. You want to fight for your goals, and then while you're trying to achieve that, get into a trance-like state that gets you to the next level. While manufacturing this trance-like through phones and media and such, yeah, you'll be numb to it, but it's not going to give you exactly what you're thinking it's going to give you. It felt like, of course, Ego was so into his speech. That's why he was trying to passionately let all of them know how it all works. So they're all sitting there like, okay. And the biggest one is the fact that the way he was talking, to me, seemed like everything was directed towards Isagi, because I'm sure even Ego saw it in the tryouts, how Isagi really was able to build off and kind of get into this trance like to make a score. So now Isagi's all fired up like, okay, I want to get into this game. This game's going to help me get to the next level, to find this trance-like state, because he did feel like it was like a trance and he wants to manufacture it to keep it as a weapon. So I felt like the speech that Ego was giving could be honestly a speech for any person individually, something that people can look at and it's like, oh wow, if I really want to do something with my life and I really want to like try to work towards something, you know, don't work on something really easy to makes you bored, but don't work on something really too hard to give you that anxiety, but give you that middle path to where you feel like you can achieve something and work towards it and become better, whether it's in that field or in something else, but you personally getting better. How the distraction of this world and the distraction of phones and, you know, mindlessly watching things, TikToks, YouTube shorts, or even just media itself, just kind of doesn't really do anything for you in life, like doesn't give you any real benefit. Yeah, you can learn a few facts about different things like that, but what is it really going to help you towards achieving to that next level? And it was just like, wow. Felt like Ego was there front and center and he wanted to really convince everyone what he was just so passionate about what he was saying. And I'm like, wow, I feel it. Okay, I feel it. Okay, I want to get on that field. Okay, I feel it. That's essentially, I think, what was the crux of this whole episode, was this one speech and how powerful it was. But tell me what you guys think in the comments below, because I thought that was a really, really good speech. And I think it was a really, really good time that he actually gave that. And next week it's going to be the kickoff. And we're going to see how, I don't know how many episodes this game's going to be. Like it wouldn't surprise me if it ends up being quite a few episodes to find out who's going to be the winner and how the story is going to develop as they go through all of the characters, because we got more characters to be introduced to from just the Japanese side of things, let alone the characters that we know from Blue Law. Make sure you guys like the video and make sure you guys are subscribed, because we'll definitely discuss this and other anime here on the channel. If you haven't, you know, been seeing any of the other reviews, make sure you check that out. And of course, the live reactions on Patreon. Sign up there. Link is down below. But make sure you guys take care. You be safe, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.